Hi guys, I hope you got your coffee and tea parallelly while the sessions are on. Thank you for being a great audience. Bhavin, I sometimes wonder, as someone who runs a gaming unicorn, does your, blood pressure, stress level go up every day because the regulation seems to change? You have to deal with center, state. How do you kind of keep your sanity running a gaming unicorn and, unicorn that develops real money games which has mixed views? Because that must give you a lot of stress on a daily basis.
Yeah, I was, first of all, thank you for having me here, and hello everyone. I was telling someone just earlier, right, how do you deal with all of this? And I think after a point you get used to everything, right? So the blood pressure continues to be high.
You're sort of zen about whatever
No,
comes.
you're just dealing with every moment as it comes, right? You have learned to expect the worst. You have learned to deal with the worst. That, nothing really phases you, right, at the end. Because the fact of the matter is, and this is what I say a lot also, is that it's been 18 years, right? So, many comets or meteors have come and hit us. We've sort of, been buried to the ground and come up again. But the fact is, the bottom line is that we're still here, and the history is the best predictor of the future. So our hope is, and our expectation is, that we'll continue to keep going for another 18, 20, 30 years from here on out.
Right, but where do you think this whole thing will settle? Because now we have significant interest, people are aware of the space, of the gaming space, people are making money out of it. So is there more acceptance now for your business?
So there is more awareness, for sure, I would say. And in terms of your question about, what is next, where does this go, right? I think regulation is going to be what's going to really be that next chapter in the book of online gaming, right? We've gone through various different regulations, different tax structures, that at least now the government recognizes us as a constituency where we are a legitimate taxpayer, right? So now it's just going to be a matter of, okay, what are the next steps in terms of, okay, what is really the online gaming that you can run legitimately, what you can't, just drawing that distinction, just giving us the guidance. We had a nodal ministry in 2023, which is MeitY, Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. Before that, there was no ministry that was looking at gaming. So some progress has been made. We're at that phase where we need real regulation now, and then I think we're through.
What's going to be the next, level of growth for you? Where is it going to come from? Is it more users, or the same cohort of users, but more exciting games, more product releases? How are you looking at this from a 2-3 year view? So
for us, we're in a very exciting phase right now, right? So we operate two products, Rummy Circle, My 11 Circle. Mostly Rummy Circle is our Rummy product. It's been around since 2009. My 11 Circle is more recent, came in 2019. But last year we became the associate sponsors of the IPL. The My 11 Circle branded. And so we're very excited. It's a 5-year deal, so we're very excited about what the future holds from that standpoint for us. And on generally the gaming side, I think what's really going to determine what happens in the next 2-3 years is how we leverage technology, really. We're in a space where technology is growing very rapidly. Every second word coming out of people's mouths these days is AI and ML and data science and all of those things. That how do you really leverage technology to engage your consumers meaningfully?
Improve the gaming experience,
yes,
right?
Yes, that's what's really going to determine.
On that note, what are you doing on that front? How are you leveraging AI? AR, VR must be a big element of that. How are you sort of bringing that experience?
So for the games that we offer, AR, VR is not that big a component. I know someone else asked a question in the previous panel about that. What really is very important is how can you think like a user, like a player, before the player himself can think like himself, right? So it sounds eerie, but it's true that before someone thinks of doing something, if you can give it to
Anticipate
them.
that.
If you can anticipate that, make them do it. That's really what's going to determine how well we do. So for us, we offer Rummy and fantasy sports. We're offering a couple of other games that we're testing out, and that we're cross-promoting to our fantasy sports users. But at the end of the day, it comes down to in your core products, in your core games, right? What are the different elements or features that you can offer that engage your players, right? So some players will like certain promotions more than certain other promotions. How do you know which user likes what? Right? So that's one element of it, one aspect of it. If there are 2-3 games you're offering, which is the right game to show them? And how do you determine what is the right game to show them? That uses a lot of, modeling and machine learning. So there is a lot of stuff that goes on in the background. A lot of people asked us, right? Here, Rummy is one game, aap 20 saal se wahi game bana rahe ho, but it's not like that. The game is one thing, but after that it's how you evolve the experiences of the users who are playing that game so they can keep coming back and playing. That's what's very important. And then on the flip side, you also use technology to make sure that people don't go overboard. Right? So you will of course try and see if you can acquire more players and give them relevant content. But you'll also make sure that if I find a player who's going overboard or doing too much, then how do I stop them, right? Again, going back to the point that you brought earlier, real money gaming, what you can do, what you can't do, the perception and so on and so forth. So that's something we were really leveraging science and technology to try and really make sure that players are playing only and only as a form of entertainment and not for any other reason.
Right. In fact, that was my next question, Bhavin. You spoke about leveraging AI to improve the experience, but, you can't deny that there is a societal angle to this, which I think the government is also concerned about. That,
Yes.
are we squandering our demographic dividend? Are people, emptying their savings into gaming? And you said, you are building that into your apps as well. How are you doing that? Because this is something that we see discount broking apps also talking about now. That, we don't want people to go overboard with F&O. And I think one gaming unicorn founder told me that the profile of people who use discount broking apps and who use gaming apps is actually quite similar. So how much of a concern is that for you? How much of attention does that occupy for you? That, we need to keep these filters in place.
So that's a very good question. I want to first draw a distinction between, the true concerns that people have. So there are, or the regulators have, right? One is with children, with young people who are just spending and whiling away a lot of their time playing games, right? Which time can be better used to develop a skill or study or what have you, right? So that's one group. We don't even cater to that group. We cater to the group that's actually 25 and above, right? 21 and above, but most of our players are 25 and above, right? So it comes down to the question whether they're going overboard with the money that they're spending. So we're very, very particular. So to give you an example, this is not something we're doing today, but we've been doing this for a while. Given the tech that we've built, and we have a data science team of over 40 people now. The person heading it has a PhD in computer science from a US university. And so we've been very focused on really trying to identify and understand our users very early on in the system, right? So if we identify a user is going to go overboard or not play responsibly, then we're very quick to stop them from playing, right? We'll send them, we'll sort of have them respond to a questionnaire. And once they've responded to the question, we'll actually take them to a counselor who actually counsels them. And
But
based
how do you know
on...
they're being honest in their questionnaire?
Sorry?
How do you know they're being honest in their
That's why they have a counselor that they speak to, right? A counselor is gauging them, and if the counselor cannot conclude, then they have to meet that counselor in person. To really, we really get to the end of it. And even then, once the person has been flagged, their limits are reduced. They're not going back to what they were, right? So it's very important for us that players play responsibly, primarily because of this perception and the issues that are surrounding online real money gaming.
Right.
And that's where we sort of use a lot of AI and ML actually.
Right. Bhavin, you have a lot of, foreign investors on your cap table. This whole discussion around regulation in India, how has it impacted the investor sentiment? Because I remember when the GST announcement first came, the likes of Dream11 were saying that, there will be a graveyard of gaming companies because of this one decision. There were a long list of investors who wrote directly to the PMO to tell them, don't do this because there's a huge employment equation involved. Has it really dampened investor sentiment?
So, if you asked me this question 7-8 months ago, I would have said yes, obviously, because that's when this came out. But we've had some time. From October is when the new GST regime came. We're sitting in August right now, so it's been a good 10 months since that happened. And so we have 10 months of data to look at. And what has happened is that the smaller operators have found it very hard to sustain or to survive. There are no two ways about it. It is true that has happened. The larger operators on the back of larger liquidity have been able to sustain, but they've also been pushed back 12 to 18 months. Because suddenly now you're paying a major part of your revenue that was hitting the bottom line directly as tax.
Yeah.
So there has been a major dent overall to the industry. It's been pushed back a little bit. Like I said, 12 to 18 months. But on the flip side, what has happened is that the government has seen the tax revenue go up significantly. It has increased 5-fold, in fact, from the old regime to the new regime, right?
So there's some legitimacy because you're a very big taxpayer.
Exactly, right? So so we're a major constituency now of the government, and therefore, what does the government really care about? Protecting consumers and making sure there is no illegal activity. What we're doing is entirely legal. These are games of skill that we're offering. So as long as we're protecting consumers, if the government is getting all the taxes there, they should have no problem. And they don't. In fact, it's because of this tax regime. What's now happening is that the government wants to start expediting its frameworks on regulation and actually bring about a lot more clarity, so that they can keep the illegal operators at bay and promote the online gaming sector in India.
Great. I think we have 3 minutes, so if anyone has questions in the audience, now would be a good time to ask. But if we can just get closing. Does anyone have? Yeah. If we can get a couple of mics.
Hi, just one quick question because I am into gaming. As a user, I'm talking about. So, when we look at the games, there is always a difference between Indian games and the games which are, made in countries like US or UK, right? All about the graphics, and there are a lot of things, right? So, how do you see, like, why is there this sort of difference, in these two scenarios? Like,
well, the biggest reason for the difference is that we are a very nascent gaming country, and some other geographies out there have seen gaming and experienced gaming in a very meaningful way for a very long time. That is the only reason. Do we have the talent? Absolutely. Can we build what they're building? Absolutely. Are they ahead of the race? Also absolutely. And because they're ahead of the race, it's going to take some time to catch up. But I have no doubt in my mind that we will get there with the right kind of exposure, which we are now getting. A lot of these companies are setting up their tech centers and their, development centers here in India. And that's how we're getting access and knowledge and information to all of the stuff that's going on. So my view is that the only reason that's happening is because we're younger than they are, and as we grow, as we become more mature, there is no reason why we can't produce the kind of content they're producing. Now, the same is true also for the usage of that content, right? Gamers and the kind of casual gaming that is happening internationally is only now picking up in India. It's only now that we have younger folk who are doing a lot of stuff through gaming, like education, learning. Other geographies, other countries, other cultures have been doing that for some time, and that's why they're slightly ahead. But again, I think it's only a matter of time, but we'll definitely get there.
Right, last minute, one question, please. Just one.
Yeah. So given the online presence for, so even from 8-year kids started using cell phones, right? And your ads are not limiting to like only 18 plus years. Even a kid with 8 years, even watching YouTube, can see, and it can tempt guys that they can earn. So how are you making sure someone playing in Rummy Circle and, betting or only 18 plus? Is there anything that you're...
Absolutely. In fact, why 18 plus? Even at 18 plus, they have very, very low limits. Only 21 and later that they can play. And what we do is, from the minute someone comes in, they have to do a KYC check. We have to know exactly who the user is. Not just that. There's another place where we leverage a lot of technology, right? We have systems that will also detect fake IDs, multiple IDs, the gamut of things. Like there is, of course, there is no foolproof detection system, but we go the extra yard and go really deep into try and figuring out who is a legitimate player, how old they are, linking up with their, their account to their bank account to see that they're legitimately able to do this. So we're not just us, but the gaming ecosystem, the real money gaming players are very, very particular about this, and a lot of work is happening in this area.
But just getting an idea, one minute. But just getting an ID, like I can get my father's ID and I can upload it, right? So maybe are you doing any predictive analysis based on like he's a kid or?
Oh, absolutely right. We look at patterns from the first 2-3 minutes that you're on the side. I can tell whether you're actually the person who's playing or it's someone else. And that's why it's not that straightforward where people will just come and say that, okay, I'll just give someone else's ID and play. It's not that easy. Even if you give someone's ID and use their bank account, right, based on your playing patterns, how you're playing, how much you're playing for, at various points, we will stop you. And we will sort of do a check back with you to see if things are right. And we'll in fact call you and speak to you. That gives us a very good idea of whether the person who's playing and the person who's claiming to be the person who's playing are the same or not. So
Great. On that note, I'm sorry, we're completely out of time, but you can catch up with Bhavin on the sidelines. Thank you very much, Bhavin.
Thank you so much, Andrea.